go loaded.
I get those goosebumps every time, yeah, 713 through the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low-key. I'm sipping low-key and honest, rider. I get those goosebumps every time.
Newcastle United.
I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around me, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time.
Up the mugs. Yes, sir.
Good evening and welcome to Loaded. Welcome to the Fully Loaded Transfer Show. You'll notice there's a big piece missing, and that piece is Pete. He's on his holidays.
Yes.
So, how are you, Pete? We know you're sunning up by the pool, but you never know. But there's so much happening at this very moment. We could see Pete before the night's out. Anything could happen. Chris, how are you?
A little bit gobsmacked, mate. A little bit gobsmacked. I didn't think this. I didn't think we'd be talking about this evening, and I didn't actually think that we'd be talking about this window. So yeah, I am on cloud nine, mate. I am overjoyed. Busy day in work. It's still hot, but none of that really matters. So I am buzzing, mate. But how are you?
I'm good. You might notice that we have a little chat popping up on the screen because it's going to be difficult because we have a lot to get through. So we're going to try and keep an eye on the chat as the streaming coming through.
Yeah.
But we'll turn it off if we have to. So just be warned of that, people. Let's get it. Yeah, sorry, Chris, to answer your question. I'm good.
Good,
a lot less stuff. Fresh cut as someone put in there as well. Yeah, getting ready for holidays now myself. Let's get into it. But we're going to do a bit of, as well as talking one man, Hugo. We're going to lead things in to a few other things, topics as well. And we're going to do a bit of myth busting, Chris. Because first of all, I'm going to throw a myth out there and then want to get your thoughts on that particular myth. Yeah. The first one I want to say is that the team are off to Austria on a training camp. And not Australia. Austria. And there's a lot of panic. Where's Isak? Where is Isak? Where's Tonali? Myth's busted.
Okay. All right, good.
Hey!
That's the first one out of the way. Myth busted. Isak is going nowhere, as we said for a long time. Were you getting it from your Liverpool mates? Were they getting excited at the thought of Isak being on the way to them?
Mate, honestly, it's relentless. I mean, just looking today at the all the articles on all the various articles on X, you go through the comments and it's just, oh, Isak's going to Liverpool. Oh, Isak's going to leave. Oh, this means Isak's not going to stay at Newcastle, and it's just it's so far off the mark. Like we'll get into it, Daz. We'll get into it. But for me, Alexander Isak's going nowhere this summer, and this is the whole idea of bringing in the alternative option to Alexander Isak. Because, to put everyone's fears to one side, for me, and I'm not saying this is the case, but for me, the way I see it, this is to supplement Alexander Isak. If we were to go and sell Alexander Isak by bringing Hugo Ekitike in, we're back to square one. We're going to have to do it all over again. We're going to have to bring in another striker. So for me, this almost guarantees, in my opinion, that Alexander Isak stays, because this is the backup to Alexander Isak, or the player who's going to come in and relieve Alexander Isak, and the step up. You know, when Alexander Isak's not playing, this is the player who's going to be coming in. This is the player who could be playing alongside Alexander Isak. This could bring a different shape to Newcastle United. So to me, I just don't see it like that, and I'm surprised everybody's jumping on it and saying that by us signing someone like Hugo Ekitike, that means that Alexander Isak's on his way out, because I just don't see it like that. I really, really don't. But what about you, Daz? What were your thoughts?
Well, my initial thoughts were, when you hear it first, because I remember like about a month and a half ago, you had Hugo Ekitike as your choice, and it was like the logic you had was like if we were set up to play towards Isak's strengths, if we bring an alternative type of striker, then we need to switch everything else around as well. So it's not going to be one or the other. We're going to be playing both of them at the same time as well.
Yeah.
If he was to come to Newcastle. But yeah, sorry. Let us move on. Actually, no, because I wanted to say as well, as part of my initial thoughts, I thought that maybe this is a way that Gordon it would be off then, and Gordon on to Liverpool or something like that, and that this was going on in the background, and there'll be one for the other then, because he can play on that left wing as well. He does quite well in that left wing, Hugo. But I don't think that's the idea now. I think it's all in, and then we're definitely going for it if that's that. Yes, but let's move on. I was originally going to go through the Elanga story with everyone, because we've not been on since Thursday. But let's move it up a bit. We will bring in Elanga the story, but we'll go straight to Hugo. Right, let's get to it. Let's bring you up to speed where things are. First up, Luke Edwards had this one, that Newcastle United are hoping to finally land Hugo in a huge statement of ambition. He goes on to say that Newcastle tried to sign him twice before, but they're wary of getting this one done. But there's massive interest in making it happen. There he is there in his Frankfurt kit, but we want to see him in this one. This is the one we want to see him in. But continuing the story, this is all from a few days ago. This is not what's happened in the last 20 minutes or so. Just talk from Lee Ryder that they'd look for 86 million. There was he goes on to say United would have to break their transfer record to land the striker with a huge outlay needed to get it done. The Frenchman has been admired by the Magpies for the last 3 years and turned down a move to Newcastle at the start of the takeover. We all remember that. We all remember him choosing PSG. At the time, I remember saying that it's like he was a young lad. He was leaving his own country, and PSG, the biggest club in France, were looking for him. So it was a no-brainer for him at the time, even though it would have been great to get him at that time at that particular price. I'm going to bring you in at the end of all this, Chris, to get your thoughts on everything. Let's move on a bit further, because TalkSport had it, I think it was yesterday, TalkSport were talking about us, talking up us about signing him as well for around 77 million. Of course, we spent about 63 million or so on Isak. So yes, it would smash our record no matter what happens. There as well, despite having an outstanding season, scoring 22 times and helping Frankfurt to third in the table, they're looking for the 86 million was the fee that was being talked about there. Then fast forward a little bit further, and we get into just pretty much this evening. I was at that stage, Chris. I was going to ask you what your thoughts were on this myth. Let's call it a myth. How close? What rating you were going to give it? But I think whatever rating you would have given there would have changed after we saw this, because next up, coming from Florian. He's saying that the Newcastle have opened concrete talks with the camp of Hugo Ekitike and are trying to reach a verbal agreement now, right this second. And before that happened, we had this man speaking.
Guys, keep close eye to Hugo Ekitike, because I told you last week, and many said, Fabrizio, are you crazy? Why? They just signed Elanga, so why one more expensive player up front? But Newcastle are working on the deal to sign Hugo Ekitike from Inter Frankfurt. I told you last week, and I maintain my position. Newcastle are on it. Newcastle want Ekitike. They wanted João Pedro before he decided to go to Chelsea, so they're still looking to add one more offensive player up front. They believe Ekitike is perfect for Eddie Howe in terms of skills, in terms of potential, in terms of goals to bring to the squad to play Champions League football next season. So Newcastle are working hard on the deal to sign Hugo Ekitike. He's a top target for them. They are really pushing now, working on the agreement on player side and with Eintracht. Of course, he's an expensive player, so it's not an easy or immediate deal for Ekitike, but Newcastle are on it in these hours, not in 3 or 4 weeks. In these hours, Newcastle are working on the deal for Hugo Ekitike. So let them work. Let's see what's going to happen there. We know there is interest from several clubs around Europe, including, for example, Liverpool, who still wait to see what's going to happen with Darwin Núñez. Chelsea called for him at the beginning of the summer transfer window. For Man United at the moment, the player looks expensive despite all the links you had in the media for weeks for Ekitike. Newcastle are on it. So let's see what's going to happen there, because Newcastle are really interested in Hugo Ekitike, are in contact with people involved in the deal. And so let's follow the situation. But for sure, Hugo Ekitike, Premier League, this is going to be one of the stories in this second half of the summer transfer window, moving towards mid-July with Hugo Ekitike. One to watch.
Thanks, Fab. So it gets even deeper, this one, because he's back again and said it's all underway now. It's all happened as he was talking about just shortly before that. Talks between all parties involved are ongoing to discuss a financial package on both clubs and player side. Julian Lawrence, the super agent, the super agent Ali Barat is currently in Newcastle to finalise the deal. Sorry, this is my first time reading some of these. I just grabbed them. So around 80 million euros for the French forward striker from Frankfurt, who had a great season in the Bundesliga last season. Of course, he did 22 goals. Don't believe Julian. How about this one? Keith Downey's all over this as well. He's saying Newcastle stepped up their interest in long-term striker Ekitike, with meetings taking place in Germany over the past week, and with Frankfurt and the players' camp. Also referring to the other tweet we just said there as well, he says further meetings have taken place in Austria, where Newcastle have travelled for a pre-season training camp, and they just arrived there today. And talks centre over what would be a club record for the 23-year-old. Frankfurt want 86 million. Well, there might be a bit of wiggle room there. You never know. Newcastle tried and failed to sign him in the past. Newcastle pushing hard to get Ekitike to play alongside Alexander Isak. They might even be in the training camp together. Last bit of information as things evolve here is Fab is back again. And Newcastle have submitted an official bid today for Ekitike. Proposals higher than 70 million euro previously offered by another club this summer, with Newcastle pushing to get the deal done. Negotiations are underway. That's where we are now, as far as I know. Chris, let's take all that in. What do you have? Is it a myth?
Beautifully summed up, Daz. Beautifully summed up. But yeah, I mean, it calls for excitement as far as I'm concerned. Fraden says, "Can this be real?" Fumby saying, "I can't cope." Like this is very, very exciting, because it's not just one source; it's multiple sources. And as we know, we all follow Fab Romano, don't we? And when he tends to say something is close or something is happening, you do tend to kind of believe it. And the fact that the English media are now getting on board with it, the likes of Keith Downey, the likes of Luke Edwards. To be fair to Luke, he did mention this actually over the week ago, didn't he? So the fact that multiple sources are all quoting it does kind of lead to the excitement. To go back to what you originally said to me as well, Daz, I mentioned a while ago, didn't I, that Hugo Ekitike would be, for me, my top target, because he's so similar to Alexander Isak. So when Alexander Isak isn't in the team, and you're only playing with one striker, bringing someone like Hugo Ekitike in would be perfect, because he plays very, very similar to him. Yeah, and like when we were talking about, rating and how likely it was probably going to be like 5 or 6, wasn't it? Even less, maybe. The only thing that made me feel like this deal wasn't going to go away was the fact that we've seen in previous examples, when Eddie Howe identifies someone he wants, that target doesn't go away. We've saw it with João Pedro, we saw it with Elanga, gone in previously, went in again for them. Thankfully, we've got Elanga over the line, but as everybody knows, we've got him for Hugo Ekitike twice now, I believe. So this will be the 3rd time, and hopefully it's 3rd time lucky. But yeah, mate, I am like super excited, because if we were to get Hugo Ekitike and Anthony Elanga, then you're just then thinking, wow. So we're basically 2 more signings away from significantly upgrading the squad. People will suggest, that we're probably close to the budget. One thing is interesting is that we've been led to believe that, we had 3 top targets, which were James Trafford, João Pedro, and Anthony Elanga. Now, we've got Anthony Elanga through the door. João Pedro, we believe, was a 50-55 million transfer. By the sounds of things, this Hugo Ekitike deal is probably going to be north of 70 million. So there's probably a 15-20 million, underspend there, or, a gap between what we were initially wanting to spend. So that would indicate to me that we're going to have to raise funds. Now, how much funds is open to debate. I mean, we have also spoken in the past about having to maybe borrow from the January window, or maybe even next summer's window. But if you putting in this huge outlay, and you're bringing in significant quality, a big upgrade on what we've got, even if it means that we have a quiet January or we have a quiet next summer, this is going to be huge for us. It's going to be absolutely huge. And this is on the premise as well that there's no outgoings, and I do still believe there will be outgoings. And I think, as I've said from the start of the window, I think there will be one outgoing that none of us expect. Like, people are talking Sean Longstaff, Matty Target, Joe Willock, and I'm not saying that those players, shouldn't go, but I just wonder whether there will be maybe a surprise one that we weren't expecting. I'm not suggesting, it's going to be like a Sandro Tonali or an Alexander Isak, but it could be a Harvey Barnes, it could be an Anthony Gordon, who knows? But I do think in order to carry on our spending and to upgrade in certain positions that we want to, I wouldn't rule out, a sale. But right now, I don't want to worry about that. I just want to worry about the incomings. And if Hugo Ekitike is on his way to Newcastle, and if the talks have been going on for a week, as some people are suggesting, hopefully it's not going to be too far around the corner. I'm hoping. But what about you, Daz? Where do you sit with all this, having read all that for the first time?
Yeah. I in a way, I don't want to get too excited about it. I know some people are getting very excited in the chat, and rightly so. But I'm just afraid that someone else then tries to swoop in. That's my worry here. If he was to be using us to smoke out someone else, so that's a bit of a worry. But it'll just be a game changer if this was to go through. Like, and then, as you said, Chris, we'd worry about how we balance the books then after that, and maybe someone could be expendable then, but not the key guys, as I said. We can worry about that if and when it happened, but we don't want. We're trying to build our squad, not and bulk it out rather than deplete it. So this would be a massive statement as well if we were to go down this route and get this one done. Okay, let us move on a bit. So we're saying this for this one. This is not the myth. This is obviously there's something in this. Everyone is on it, so this one is a reality. So let us hope it comes through for us. I'm going to move on because we're going to keep going through a number of different topics. I'm going to go back to Elanga signing, and then I'll go through another few of our myths. But this man arrived on Friday evening. I think it was Friday evening. He finally arrived, and in all his glory, and he knows a few players as well, of course. On Teesside. Is there a bit of breaking news? Is there? Before I go on, is there a bit of breaking news? Hang on to your hats, everybody. Who's this? Yay!
Yes.
guys. Hi, guys.
Hey, what's with the rubbish view, Pete?
It's not bad, is it? That behind me is Turkey, right there.
Lovely, mate.
Ah.
Lovely.
Not
Lovely.
bad.
How you doing, fella? You all right?
Too bad where you are as well. Not too bad where you are.
Yeah, it's warm. It is
Heating up,
warm.
Pete.
Yeah.
How's things, boys? All right? All good?
All good. All good. Pete, we have to ask you.
Pete, mind blown.
What do you make of this news?
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. The last, I'm not quite sure where you guys were last at when you were kind of talking about it. I saw right at the beginning of the show. But at this point, I've just seen Ben Jacobs report that there's a delegation in Germany discussing the deal right now. They're trying to get it done. Boys, I'd be shocked if this deal is not done either way by Friday. There's a reason why this is happening now, and Newcastle United are in Austria, not too far away. Easy to get medicals and introductions done with the player. I fully expect this deal to be done very, very soon. I don't know about you boys, you may have already said it, and apologies if you have, but this reminds me very much of what Chelsea did to us with João Pedro. It seems like that we're almost waiting. We were waiting, and then we've just decided to act to get the deal done as soon as possible. It very much reminds me of that. Newcastle United have basically gone to Eintracht Frankfurt and gone, right, here's what we've got. Here's what we're willing to do the deal. We want to do it now. No messing about. We'll either get the deal done or we'll move on. And I think this is why Newcastle have acted so quickly. And I'm really excited about this. This is, you know what frustrates me is that there's so many people going, oh, nobody's going to want to come and play second fiddle to Isak. Nobody's playing second fiddle to Isak. We need a genuine, viable alternative to Alexander Isak. Last season proved it. For as good as Alexander Isak was, for those last 7 games, he was playing at 70%. It wasn't enough. We didn't see the true Alexander Isak. Now, if we had a genuine alternative, we'd have not had to put Alexander Isak through that, and equally would have been in a much better position with a striker that's equally as capable of producing big moments. Ekitike has scored or been involved in 34 goal contributions last season. That is unbelievable. That is elite level performance. I don't care what league you're in. But the Bundesliga has quite quickly become the second best league in Europe, in my opinion, for quality football. So the fact that he's been able to do that, and in Europe as well, it'll be well worth the money. And I tell you what, we're getting an absolutely blockbuster attacking line, adding Elanga to that this season. It's going to be sensational, boys, if we can get this done. 100%.
Pete, out of interest, what are you? I've been having a lot of chats this afternoon with the lads, and their first reaction, and not just my mates, but a lot of Liverpool fans are all saying, "Oh, this means Isak's going. This means Isak's going to get sold. This means Newcastle have to sell Isak." But what are your thoughts on that? And do you, like Daz and I, do you very much see this as Hugo Ekitike being there to support Alexander Isak for this upcoming season?
Yeah, you know what? Like, it's not just opposition fans. I've just gone through a few messages. I've got loads of Newcastle fans saying exactly the same. If this means Isak's going, or I'm worried Isak's going. It's been said from the get-go that any striker coming in after Wilson leaving is going to be playing with Isak, not instead of him. It's as simple as that. Like, yeah, Alexander, you boys, I've said it all the way through. Alexander Isak will stay this summer, and next summer we'll have a different conversation. Hugo Ekitike is coming into play with Alexander Isak. There's no doubt about it for me. He's coming into play with him, and I'll put it out there. If we're able to get that deal done, you're looking at probably the best strike force in the Premier League, in my opinion. Those two together, or in tandem, or in rotation, is an elite striking partnership that's got crazy amount of goals. That's set up not only to fight for Champions League football again, but also actually cause a big dent in Champions League next season in that competition. I just I don't think we quite realise how big this signing is. It's absolutely monumental if we can get it done. It's absolutely. It's for me. It's probably up there, maybe just behind the Wirtz deal with Liverpool. If we get this deal done, like it's probably the second biggest transfer of this summer, in my opinion. It's absolutely massive. So, boys, I'm really excited about it. It shows that we've got the money there. The fact that we're willing to put down that sort of outlay, what is it, 80 million euros or something along those lines that we're putting down. We've clearly got the money to put it down there. And look, when we think about money, like it's always important to go, well, you know, it's a lot of money. Like, have we got that sort of money? Are we going to supplement it elsewhere by selling a player? Well, no, Newcastle United have the money. We do have the money to spend. It's just that what it seems to have happened is Newcastle are trying to spread it across multiple windows. But they've always said, if there's a player that's good enough and the player that's right, they will bring that money forward in order to get that player. Now, it's really interesting that we could potentially be doing that with Hugo Ekitike, because who was the last player we actually did that for? Like, I would say Alexander Isak was the last one that we put that sort of outlay in for. Yeah. When you've got the money there and you find a player that's ready to go, Newcastle have got the money to do it. And, you know, that's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle get Hugo Ekitike and no big hitter or anybody else of significant value leaves. It could well mean somebody else leaves. It could well. We've talked about Gordon before. We've talked about the long stats, maybe even a Willock for 25, 30 million could potentially leave to supplement that.
Yeah.
But there's a big chance that nobody leaves and we go big and we have the strongest squad possible available to us. There's a potential.
Pete, can you mark that your territory there on that beach? Because you might be back pretty pretty quick again for a reaction show to a signing. So make sure, because there's great internet actually where you are there now.
But where we are right now, it's literally I can see our hotel room from here. It's literally like a 1 minute walk. So it's actually that's how far away from the beach. It's really not that far. And I have to say, where we are, the Wi-Fi is absolutely sensational. So I could well do it in the hotel if it needs be. But I've got a feeling, boys, I could well be back once, maybe twice this week. There's a potential there because I think we're signing at least one player, at least one big player this week.
Nice one, Pete. Pete, we're going to move on from Ekitike. We're going to go on to Elanga. Stick with, if you have to go, no hassle, but stick with us as well. I just want to.
No, I was just going to say, boys, I'll let you crack on. I'll watch this back later. Make sure people, I'm going to do a Sophie B here. Make sure you hit those likes, people. Do all that good stuff. I'm sure Sophie's in there telling you what to do. Get those likes up. Cracking stuff, boys. And of course, thank you for everyone tuning in and watching the show. Just one last thing I want to say before I go. I did see on social media just before you boys went live something about Sven Botman and limping in training and this, that, and the other. I just wanted to say, like, he's got strapping on his knee, right? For me, nothing to worry about. Players wear strapping to protect a previous injury or to protect against an injury in training. Joe Linton did it all the time with his knee when he was training. He had the big strapping on, nothing to worry about. The boy's fine. Sven Botman will be absolutely fine, nothing to worry about. So that's just from people that may be raising concerns there. But boys, I'm going to shoot. Pleasure as always. And
enjoy that holiday, Pete.
Yeah, have a great time, mate. And hopefully speak to you very soon, Pete. Hopefully speak to you very soon.
Pete's holiday is going to be ruined with all this transfer activity. Isn't it? It's just. Oh well, we'll move on. We're talking Elanga. But again, thanks Pete for joining us. But let's go on to Elanga. So yeah. As we're saying that, he knows numerous people at the club already. Obviously, Alexander Isak, Emil Kraft. He knows Botman as well, having been in a training camp with him. He knows Tino Livramento too. He also knows Agent Asula, but how does he know him? So it says here that he played with Asula in with Man United under 12s game back when I think Sula was on the trial or something like that at Man United at that time. Because look at him here. He's in red. We don't like to see that. But there's the young Asula there with Brian Robson and Gary Pallister there as well. So that kind of puts that into perspective, how they actually know each other. So they go way back. And then looking at Elanga and what he can bring. So these are the stats on our wingers. And I'm not going to spend that much time on this because we've got so much more stuff to go through. But we're delighted Elanga is with us now. We spent a lot of time talking about Elanga for the last number of weeks. Love this picture as well. He does look good in black and white. We see a lot to come from him, and he's such a nice guy as well. Chris, what was your thoughts on all the interviews and the announcement video and everything that Elanga rated when he got it announced?
Mate, I absolutely loved it. I know people were waxing lyrical over it and saying how good it was. And when I watched the interviews with Anthony Elanga, I thought he came across superbly. Clearly very excited to be here. Clearly very ambitious. I thought the interview side of things was absolutely brilliant. I must say, and some people may like this, some people may not. I was a little bit disappointed with the announcement video. As nice as it was to hear the story about young Sammy, I just felt that the club maybe could have done a little bit better with that announcement video. But that's just my personal opinion. But no, I thought the interviews one-on-one with Anthony Elanga were superb. I thought they were really, really good. And yeah, he just comes across like a really good guy and somebody who really wants to get their head down and get stuck in. And when the person who was videoing him mentioned about the Champions League badge, and then he's looking at it and he's kissing it, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and I'm really excited, and I think it's a we've said this before, but I think it's a really shrewd move by Newcastle to bring Anthony Elanga in, because he is going to bed in really, really, really well, because he's already got those pre-existing relationships that you were talking about with the likes of Asula, with the likes of Isak, Botman. So he's going to settle really, really well, and probably make new friends as well amongst the squad. So no, I think it's a really, really good signing, and I'm really excited by it. I've definitely warmed to it, and now he's a Newcastle United player. You've just got to get behind him, haven't you? Absolutely have to.
No, really looking forward to what he can do in black and white. Yes, and I see someone said it. James said it in the chat there as well. Ornstein is on the Ekitike thing as well. He says Newcastle United working on a deal to sign Hugo Ekitike from Frankfurt, not yet agreed or close to being done, but talks continue over potential deal. 75 million euro for the 23-year-old. For long-term target of Newcastle and other Premier League clubs, but we'll see how that one pans out. Expecting an awful lot more talk about that in the coming hours and days. Right, let's get back to a few myths, Chris. As we speed through things. Next thing I was going to go to from Ekitike was Wisa, because Craig Hope had it there a few days ago as well. 2 days ago, he had said that Newcastle's striker search now in full swing, and the move for Johan Wisa is being explored among others. And then he points to Ekitike after that. Different profiles and prices among the targets and options being weighed up. And here's what he would look like in black and white. But where are you on this one, Chris? What's your and I know I'm talking about Ekitike, and then we can switch to Wisa. So where are you with this one and your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so on the last show, I didn't see, because I think we discussed on the last show, didn't we, Wisa and Watkins? Yeah. But for me, I mean, this Ekitike news, I think that just blows that out the water now, because Ekitike obviously is predominantly a striker. He can obviously play on the wing, and I think he can probably play in the number 10, I'd imagine. But yeah, for me, I don't think we're going to be going for Johan Wisa. The only problem with Johan Wisa and Ollie Watkins is they're 28 and 29 respectively, and I think Newcastle are all about trying to buy, how did Eddie Howe frame it? We want to buy players who will become superstars, not superstars now. And for me, I think Johan Wisa, he's 28 years old, and I just don't see the sell-on value. Because if you're bringing in Johan Wisa, he's a here and now player. But say he spends 2 years at Newcastle, and then maybe you want to move him on. You're not really going to make much of a return. And we know in this PSR world, it's all about trading. So I struggle to see Newcastle bringing in any older players. The only time I would see Newcastle maybe bring in a player who was a bit, a bit on the older side, would be someone like Kieran Trippier, who's vastly experienced and who's a bargain. That's who I think we'd go for. So I don't see us getting Johan Visser, particularly after the Hugo Ekitike news today.
Yeah, I wasn't really so. Look, I think Wisa is a great player, but it was the age that was concerned for me and AFCON. It didn't make any sense in us going for. Like you, I said it in the last show. The laughing at Dan's comment there about the green screen for Pete. Yeah, I just don't see it happening. And now I'd be disappointed if we signed Wisa after Hugo Ekitike. So let's put that one. What I'm saying, chances of that happening are about 2.
I would say some. Yeah. Okay. I don't think we'll be going for Johan Visser anytime soon.
So we're busting that myth as well. Let's move on. Let's move to Scalvini, because was talk about Scalvini a lot over the weekend as well. Mark Douglas got in on the act of Scalvini, saying that he's intrigued by the Newcastle interest. And of course, why wouldn't he? And his mate is there as well in Tonali. Sandro Tonali. I was trying to think of his first name. Sandro Tonali. Let's see how that moves on. But yeah, transfer sector had it as well. Talk about an evaluation of €50 million. Then 360 points back to the Mark Douglas article, actually, and it talks about the 50 million, and Tonali as he's made speak about Newcastle in glowing terms, and about the club and manager Eddie Howe while away on international duty. This is how he would look in a Newcastle jersey. You'd love to see that as well. God, imagine this squad. If it all comes together, this squad. But yeah, then though, the bit of who else but to throw a bit of dampness on this one. Yeah, but R. Graham comes in and says Newcastle's task of landing one of their top defensive targets in Scalvini has become even more complicated with thanks to AC Milan. And he throws in another name that we recognize, because he said that this talks of a kind of a swap deal, I suppose, with AC Milan for Malik Tau and Scalvini with Atalanta. So that one, if that was to happen, that would kind of take both targets out of our radar. But thoughts, Chris, on Scalvini, as that one's kind of been developing over the weekend as well.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Scalvini. Steve Nixon is a big fan of Scalvini, and I mean, we've spoke about Scalvini for the last few weeks, haven't we? Saying that he's a top prospect in European football. My mate who's a Blue, he loves European football, and as soon as I mentioned Scalvini's name, I could feel the anger in his messages, because he was like, "You're not getting Scalvini, you won't get Scalvini." So that automatically got me excited, because I thought, he is a player who. He is a player who would definitely excite Newcastle United fans. Great age, top prospect, and I think he's someone who's only going to get better. And yeah, for me, I would still quite fancy us being able to do this deal, because again, it's strong links. I suppose the only thing you could say is that we haven't gone for him in the past. So I believe this is the first time that we've gone for him. I could be proven wrong. If anyone in the chat says that I'm wrong in saying that, please do let us know. But yeah, I think he's newly on the radar. Although, albeit, I'm sure we've been watching him for a number of months, years. But I believe this is the first time that we're potentially going to go for him. So that that does make it a bit more interesting. I think there's a possibility it could still get done, and also does. I know it's probably putting 2 and 2 together, but we heard strong rumours, didn't we, in recent weeks, that Newcastle were looking at 2 European players. If you add in Scalvini and Hugo Ekitike with James Trafford, who is technically not based in Europe, then that would kind of add up, wouldn't it? So I certainly wouldn't rule the deal out, but it sounds like it'll be a difficult one to do. And what I will caveat that with is we know that Eddie Howe has been extremely keen on Mark Gay, so I still would not rule that deal out, especially with him only having 12 months left on his deal.
Yeah, no, just I want this one to go through as well. Just think he'd be exceptional for us, and he being so young, and Eddie Howe molding him into the player he wants to be as well, building on what he already has. It would just be exceptional. And again, sorry, can you imagine Hall, Botman, Scalvini, and Tino, Trafford in goal, Tonali, Bruno, Joe Linton. Maybe who knows? Maybe a backup with Joe Linton as well. You're going to have Gordon, Elanga, Hugo, Ekitike, and he's out of that's 12. I know, but it just
play all 12.
It's fine. Yeah, there's so many options, and it does be rotating, and it'll just be perfect to go into the new season. But let's see where we are. So yeah, let's get that one sorted as well. Let's move on. Next topic. James Trafford, an update there from Lee Ryder towards the weekend as well. Newcastle still trying to do the deal for James Trafford after fresh talks. Peter O'Rourke got in the act as well. Newcastle are planning a new offer for Burnley keeper James Trafford with a bigger upfront fee in a bid to land the player and persuade Burnley to sanction the move. I suppose, we talked about this 30 million mark. Under the 30 million, it might need to get to 30 or over to 30 or whatever just to get this one done. And my last one on Trafford, it says, Graham says no intention of giving up. That's what we like to hear. That's better, Graham. That's not bringing us down, that one. Fresh talks between Newcastle and Burnley are due this week now, because that was at the weekend. Anything changed for you on Trafford? Chris, you wanted him as much as I did.
Yeah, totally. No, absolutely. I think, and I'll keep repeating this, I think he's a transformative signing for Newcastle. I think he changes the way we play. We only see, look back the last 6, 12, 18 months, every time the ball goes back to Nick Pope on the floor, there's panic. Not just in the stadium, but with the players, you can see. So we've had to change the way that we played a little bit. Nick Pope as a shot stopper, I think, is really, really good. And I'm not saying that Nick Pope's a bad goalkeeper, but James Trafford changes the way you play. He's so comfortable on the ball, and he has the attributes of Nick Pope, but he also has attributes that Nick Pope doesn't possess. And that's why I think he'd be such a big signing for us. Some people will say he's too expensive. If you're paying 30, 35 million for them, you could look up abroad and you could potentially get better value out there. But Nick Pope is the one. James Trafford is the one player who I think Newcastle have had their eye on for a long, long time. And going back to what I was saying about the centre-back target, we know that Newcastle United really want James Trafford. So if Eddie Howe wants him and the Newcastle coaching staff want him, as we always say, Daz, who are we? Who are we to argue with that? So for me, I still think this deal gets done. I think it's a matter of time before this deal gets done. But what about you? Do you think we'll bring in James Trafford? Do you think we'll pay the money that's required to get him? Do you think Burnley will fold?
First of all, don't move that comment on screen, right? But I think we definitely get it done. We get it done for Trafford. It's just a matter of time. The only way we don't get it done is someone else swoops in. But I think his head is he wants to go to Newcastle as well. So I think it's just a matter of time. We may have to pay the 30 million or some kind of tweak it some way that we give Burnley that small bit more. We meet somewhere along the way. I'm not going to even go to say the middle. But let's move on. Let's go through another few, because we have another few to go through, because some are myths, some are potentials. This one, David H. What did you make of this one when it came out? Because there was talk before this tweet from Ben Jacobs. There was a talk of Conor Gallagher and Newcastle being linked with Conor Gallagher. Now Ben does kind of rule it out. It says that they're wide of the mark. But David, I want to know your reaction when you heard this, because Joe Linton and Conor Gallagher in the same squad would be very interesting. But Chris, I'm going to get your thoughts on this one if it was to happen.
I will be pleased if this happens. Not comparing him to Joe Linton in that sense, but the fact that I think he is a real Eddie Howe player. And again, Daz, I'm going to keep repeating it. We've heard, that Eddie Howe has shown interest in Conor Gallagher previously. So again, would this surprise me? Probably not. If the likes of Sean Longstaff was to leave, I think Conor Gallagher would be a fantastic replacement. Somebody who can play in the 8, someone who could probably play in the 6 as well. and someone who could even play in the 10. You know, going forwards, we saw what Conor Gallagher is capable of. For me, Conor Gallagher is like a bit of an old-fashioned box-to-box midfielder. He's someone who can attack, but who can also defend. So in terms of like squad player and rotation and stuff like that, I'm not suggesting he wouldn't get in the starting 11, but what I mean is he's that you know, big lifting quality, isn't he? If you had Conor Gallagher on the bench or Conor Gallagher in the starting 11, you're happy because he's a good player. Whether or not it'll happen, I don't know. I know Ben's suggesting there that it won't, but again, like I say, you know, one of few players that, you know, has been publicly commented on by the club. We know that the club were interested in Conor Gallagher because a lot of journalists were reporting on it. So again, I wouldn't rule it out. And it also depends whether or not Atletico Madrid want to cut the losses on him. We know they paid an awful lot of money for him to join Atletico Madrid. Is he unsettled? Does he want to come back to England? And let's be honest, if we carry on going the way we're going, signing the likes of Elanga, Ekitike, and then we bring in a Scalvini or a Gay, is Conor Gallagher going to be looking at this and going, do you know what, this is a different Newcastle United from the one that, you know, came in for me previously. So would I be surprised if Conor Gallagher was to join Newcastle United? Absolutely not. Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. I know at this point it probably looks unlikely, but he is an Eddie Howe type player. He absolutely is.
The way if we keep going there, we're going. The Club World Cup is on the horizon pretty soon. No, look, we'll not get carried away. For me, I don't know. I can't see it happen because of the outlay we're seen to be spending elsewhere. I don't know how we can afford him as well. And yes, I think Eddie Howe would love him. But I just think something massive has to happen, like a big sale, not an Isak, not a Tonali or Bruno, but maybe like a Gordon or something like that. And I don't want that to happen for us to balance the books for all these different types of signings we're talking about here. So I pinch us off this one. I think it's a bit of a myth as things stand. I'm going to move on because we're going to go rapid fire with all these links. Was the plan tonight. Next one is Šeško. That's how you pronounce his name, apparently. Not Sesko, as I was saying, all for the last good number of years. Šeško.
Me too.
Like your Sean Connery. Right. Graham says that Šeško representatives are touching base with other suitors around Europe following Arsenal's decisions to move ahead with Victor Gyökeres. Yes, so Arsenal are plowing ahead on that one with Gyökeres. So yeah, for me, I would go for Šeško myself, not Gyökeres. But in that piece as well, because you don't see us there, you see a Liverpool badge. But in here it says Šeško's team have been in contact with Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, and Newcastle United, keeping all four clubs abreast of the situation. So if things were to take a turn with Ekitike, maybe Šeško comes into play. But your thoughts on that one, Chris? Do you think that's a bit of a myth, or do you think we could get involved?
No, I think that one's a myth. Again, that's all I keep saying this show. Again, I think there's been rumours that we've been looking at him previously, but I think our main target has been identified this evening, and probably for the last couple of weeks. So yeah, for me, I think it's all about Hugo Ekitike. Could we explore Šeško if the Ekitike deal falls through? Who knows? But I think, I think it's all about Hugo Ekitike. So I would say no. I'd probably put this in the 2 bracket, Daz, like you did with one earlier.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not willing to go that far low down. I don't want to see what though yet. I'm going to say 6. Could potentially get involved if things go astray. Okay, let's move on, because one that we would like to get involved in is Walker Peters, and Besiktas are looking at and they're talking to Kyle Walker Peters, who's a free agent. So yeah, just want us to get involved there as well, because I think he'd be a great all-round backup for the team. You think the same there as well? I know myself and Peter definitely on this one, but how about you, Chris? Are you on the same page here?
Mate, 100%. And really, the biggest plus about Kyle Walker Peters is the fact he's on a free, and he can play. You know, he's a player who's got Premier League experience. I think he's still a decent age. Is he what, about 26, 27, I think?
I think it could be 28, 29.
Let me just check. Dead quick check. Kyle Walker Peters. Kyle Walker Peters. Where is he? 20. He's 28. He's 28.
Yes.
Yeah, just turned 28. 28 in April. So for me, I just think, you see, you know, when I was saying about not signing players who are towards the latter ends of the career, this one would make sense. This one would make sense for free. And he's going to cover your right side and your left side. Do you know what, Daz? I know we're probably not going to have time to cover it tonight, but I was having a little play down earlier on, putting in our squad for next season, just having a look, you know, across all the different positions. And the one position which is standing out like a sore thumb to me at the moment is the left back position, because you know, we on the left hand side, even though it felt like we had about 47 left backs, we've only really now got Lewis Hall and then Matty Target. And I fully expect Matty Target to probably move on. So if Lewis Hall goes, I don't see Dan Burn ever playing left back again. I think he plays left centre back going forward. It would be lovely to have that left back understudy, if you like, to Lewis Hall, and then also know that he can also play on the right. I think it's a great signing. I really, really do. I think it would be one that Eddie I would be interested in.
I would say I want to sign him too. I would say Alex Murphy as well. He can play both left side of centre back and left back, but who knows? He might go out on loan again. Let's move on. Let's move on again, because we have to go rapid fire. Let's go just talk a bit about preseason game, because Newcastle did play a preseason game behind the doors friendly against Carlisle United, and they won 4-0. So this is the team that took to the pitch for the first half. Sean Neve actually is meant to be one to look out for as well. Liam Kennedy was saying good things about him. Actually, go to the tweet in a second. Actually, here it is. He's identifying him as one to keep an eye on for the future. I know he's been involved in some squads for Newcastle last season, but for the second half, this is who took the picture. They changed pretty much everyone for that second half. But yeah, that's our first preseason game done and dusted. Next one is Celtic the weekend. So I know a few people are probably planning on going to that. We're going to leave some time as well for some of the questions at the end, but a few more things that we just wanted to bounce on as well. We signed, who joined us, we have a set piece expert, Mark. I didn't even read his name before. Martin Mark is his name, right? 31-year-old Dane who's arrived, and he's a set piece coming from Whiteland in Denmark. So let's see. Hopefully, there's a few tricks up his sleeve. Looking forward to see what he can do. Also, Jack Ross has moved up as well. He's moved into a different role. He's been appointed our head of football strategy, reporting to a new sporting director, when we do get one, or whatever role that's going to be going forward. And we'll take on an important leadership role that will help to develop consistent sporting philosophy across the club. So yeah, interesting to see how that's going. Now we would like to see big announcements as well on the CEO front and on a new sporting director. So let's see how that plays out. Last few bits there as we wrap it up is, let me go to it. Yes, one player we won't be signing is Jules Koundé, but he's wearing my top. He's dance shocks in the back, not Ginola. So yeah, that was an interesting one. That one took to social media. So yeah, fair play on that one. There's going to a blast of players that we have been talking about the early half of the season. You can't see them there. Forget that. It's all changed now again. So, but there's a lot of players we have been talking about. Last thing before we go to the questions. Sean Longstaff, we're just waiting for what's going to happen with the next bid potentially from Leeds. So see how that plays out there on Sean Longstaff, or maybe staying with Newcastle. Who knows? Chris, let's go to a few questions.
Yeah, let's do it, mate. So big shout out first of all to Genie Estevan Alzum. Genie, thank you very much, mate, as always, for the super chat. He says, can't wait for Liverpool fans meltdown. We are massive. Genie, I'm fully with you, mate. I'm fully with you. Because if we start this season with Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike, yeah, there's gonna be panic, mate. There is gonna be panic. So fully behind that one. Genie Esther also sent another one. Thank you, Genie Esther. He also says, so close to the 30k milestone. Let's get that this week. Totally, mate. Totally. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much.
Cheers,
We're not
yes,
far
sir.
off, are we, Daz? Not far off at all.
No, we're less than 100, I think, off it. So you never know.
Jeez.
You never know.
Not far, not long to go. So if you haven't already,
Hugo.
click that subscribe button. Click that subscribe button. Harry Austin, who's been a member for 37 months. Thank you very much, Harry. So over
Cheers,
3
Harry.
years. Good afternoon and good evening from Texas. Love the show. Thank you very much, Harry. Much appreciated, mate. Right, Dazzler, some quick fire. So Gareth Spider VPN says, are we going to go 4-4-2 here or what? Do you think starting the season with Hugo Ekitike and Alexander Isak, do you see them both playing up top? Or do you think it will still be the 4-3-3 with Hugo Ekitike being eased in?
I think we'll discover more on that in pre-season. Let's say he was to arrive and rock up and see what Eddie tweaks it to then. And well, I think we could change mid-game as well. I still think we'll probably start with the favorite 4-3-3, but there's a potential for that 4-4-2. You don't see it that often now, but like we even played a 5-5-0 at one stage last season, if you remember. I can't remember who it was against now, but was it against Arsenal at one stage? I don't know. But yeah, Gareth, it's a possibility. Shout out to Gareth as well. I know you've had a tough time with recently, Gareth. Thoughts what you meant.
Hope all as well, Gareth. Thank you very much for tuning in, mate. This is an interesting one from Choppy. Choppy says, hi, Daz and Chris. Question, will any of the players have in their contracts to match the biggest earner at Newcastle United? If Ekitike gets bought, will Isak's wages go up to Ekitike's? What do you think, Daz?
For me, Isak should be signing the contract now as well as all this happening. How can you not sign the contract? This is the most exciting time. If Ekitike deal goes through, this is the most exciting time in Newcastle's history, apart from winning the cup and everything. But building on that into the Champions League, you want to be here, man. Why would you want to go anywhere else? So Isak's wage should be going up anyway with that contract, and I don't think the signing of Ekitike means that, okay, we're giving up on Isak and that we're willing to keep him this season and then sell him the following season. I think it's still banging to get him to sign that contract and go at it. So I have no idea. He will command a nice wage, of course, but he'll be up there with he should be below Isak. Isak has to be number one, no matter what it is, and he would be below that, but not far off it, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't know the ins and outs, and it'd be interesting if anyone in the chat can tell me, but I would be highly surprised if Hugo Ekitike was on high wages anyway. I think he would probably have had a pay rise when he went from Rem to PSG. Probably, he was only a youngster at that point, so probably around 30-40k, maybe at a push. When he's gone to Frankfurt, again, they don't pay high wages in the Bundesliga. They don't tend to. And not forget,
I have a number for you.
Oh, go on.
Okay, just if this is AI coming back with this, it's saying that he is on 57k sterling. It's converted from euro to sterling a week. So yeah, we can pay that.
So I think at Newcastle
double it. We can double that.
Yeah, but I think he'd be on anywhere between 80 and 100 grand a week. I think that's what he'll end up on. And yeah, if you double it, Daz, it's going to be 120. But Alexander Isak's going to command 200 grand a week. That's what his new contract will be if he signs it. So I don't think there's any concern there. But very good question, Choppy. Very good question. Last one, a quick one. Daz, Jason Scott thinks Gordon goes. Do you?
I'm a bit worried about Gordon because, if it's a thing they have to balance the books, and I'm also a bit worried that why are Liverpool coming in here as well? This is my worry. We know if Liverpool are going to go into the market for a striker, kind of a left winger striker, and I know that this Diaz situation is playing out as well. That Liverpool are going to make a move somewhere. So are they going to get involved here with the Ekitike, or are they going for Gordon, or is it someone else? So I'm a bit worried because Ekitike would suit that left flank as well. But I'm going to say Gordon stays, and he gets this is my fifth or sixth time to that. Gordon stays and has a brilliant season next season.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just got this weird feeling. I don't know. I actually think it depends on what happens with Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez. I think it's on those two. So I wouldn't rule it out. But at the same time, I think Anthony Gordon's probably going to be looking at Hugo Ekitike coming in and thinking, do you know what, I wouldn't mind staying here this season. If we carry on bringing in players of that quality, I don't see why I'd want to leave, albeit I know it's his boyhood club. So something to think about. Daz, very, very last one. I'll squeeze it in. Is Isak going to get the number 9, or is Hugo Ekitike going to get the number 9 if he joins?
Let's worry about that when it happens.
Sorry,
David.
Right.
I'm not going to worry about that now. If that's all I have to worry about, I'll be happy.
It'd
be good. It'll be brilliant.
Yeah.
Right. Look, if you are interested in becoming a sponsor of Loaded, contact us on Loaded Mag NUFC info@gmail.com. Yeah, and as you can see, we're across all the different platforms and on the socials as well. So yeah, get in contact with us. Smash that like button on the way out. We could be back, very well back tonight, waking a lad up from his holidays to get on a reaction show, or maybe it'll be during the week. Either way, you'll see us. But that's it. Thanks for sticking with us. See you in the next one. Good night, Chris.
Thanks, Al.